This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so good morning all and welcome back to the session. This is Big Data Masters program. Big Data Masters program and we are going through with Hive. So inside Hive in our previous session what we have seen we have gone through with the discussion about Hive. Say what is Hive? Hive and from the Hive perspective what we have seen two types of systems. First one is a transactional system, and second one was the analytical system. Analytical system. So with respect to these particular system, what we have seen, transactional systems are the system which are utilized or working on to the less amount of data, and over here the latency is very low, and we are working on to the almost real time data. But with respect to the analytical systems, what we have seen, these are the systems which are working on to the historical data, and uh, long batch of jobs are available over here, and the latency is high if we compare it with the transactional system. So we have gone through with these particular system in detail. Then we have seen the difference between database, data warehouse, and data lake. We have gone through in detail with respect to these particular topics as well. Database, which is nothing but the RDBMS, which is utilized or working for the transactional systems, and latency is low over here. And data warehouse, these are like working onto the huge amount of data, and best suited for the ETL jobs. And then we have seen the data lakes as well. Data lakes are where like we are putting the raw data, and these are useful for ELT related operations, extract, transform, and load. So we have gone through with these particular topics in detail. Then we have seen like why we need to have Hive. And in order to have Hive, like our intention was like we can have the tabular view on top of our data. And second intention was like we will be able to write down the SQL like queries, analysis to SQL queries. These were the two intentions why we need to have Hive, because like earlier what we were having, we used to write down the Java code in order to work with MapReduce, and to write the Java code for a particular task, that is a that will take like a lot of lines, and it will be typical for the non Java guys. Then if you want to have the tabular view analysis onto top of the data which is placed inside the HDFS, then it was tough earlier. So these were the two intentions in order to have Hive. Okay, that is perfectly fine. Like say if we are having huge amount of data, and then like we can leverage Hive for the execution of that particular data. Now we are having say Hive, and we are having RDBMS. RDBMS. So both of these two tools or technology, what I can say, are used to process the data. But what are the major differences once we are talking about Hive, that is the analytical system, and RDBMS, that is the monolithic way of processing? So, what are the major differences between both of these two tools? So, once we are having large amount of data, then we are leveraging Hive, large amount of data. Okay, at that moment, we are having Hive in order to process that particular data. And RDBMS, that is the monolithic way of computing that is used to process small data. Small data is available over here once we are working with the RDBMS. If we are talking about latency, then inside the Hive, latency is very high. High latency is there, and over here the low latency. Then if we are talking about the parallel computation, parallel computation, like if we are having huge amount of data, then definitely single machine will not be suitable in order to process that particular data. So we need to have parallel computation over here. And this is nothing but monolithic way of computing. And over here we will be having the single machine. Okay, single machine is available over here. Now this particular Hive is not acid compliant. It is not acid compliant, and we will be talking in detail about the acid properties of a database. Okay, so Hive is not acid compliant, and why we need to have a database that like must be acid compliant. We will try to understand with the help of those particular things once we are going through with acid properties. Okay, so this is acid compliant. And this is designed for read, and this is designed for insert and update. Insert and update related operations we have already having the understanding. And for Hive we are having HQL, and for RDBS we are having SQL, that is Hive query language and SQL query language. So these are the major differences once we are talking about Hive and RDBMS. Now let's focus on to this particular verb, that is acid. Acid. So in a particular database, friends, we are having certain properties. If a database is fulfilling these particular property, then what we can say, this is a database. Otherwise, like we are going to categorize into the different category. So our database or RDBMS must fulfill these particular properties. So acid is the combination of four property. uh, A is atomicity, city, then consistency, C for consistency, mentioned in this particular way. I stands for isolation, and D stands for durability. Okay, let's proceed one by one now. So, what this atomicity is saying, if we are having one transaction, okay, if we are going to perform one transaction, the transaction should be having uh, either complete state or fallback state if the transaction is failing. So let me write it first, and then I will explain. Transaction, it is ensuring that the transaction is treated as a single transaction, either complete or fallback. Okay, so what we are getting from this particular atomicity property, it is the technique which is ensuring if a transaction, the transaction is the transaction will be the single state only. The transaction will be having the single state only, either complete or fallback. Either complete or fallback. You can take it in this particular way. Say you are going to perform the withdrawal of certain amount from the ATM. So if you are not if you are not getting the money, then the amount should not be deducted from your account. Or if like the amount is deducted, then you must get that particular amount. And if you are not getting the amount, the transaction must be uh, restored to the previous state, like the fallback state. So if the transaction is failing, then it must be having the fallback state information or the complete information, like the transaction should be complete or fallback state. So it is treated single only. And with respect to the example, like if you are withdrawing like 5,000 money from your account, and if you got the money, then the transaction will be completed. If you are not getting the money, and the transaction was failed because of any reason, then it must be restored to the previous state, that is the nothing but the fallback. So that is denoted by this particular state, atomicity. So all the RDBMSs are are having compliant this to this particular property. If the RDBMS is not, if our database is not having compliance, then it will not be kept inside the RDBMS category. Okay, so that is atomicity. Now moving further, the second the property what we are having, that is consistency. Yeah. So it is like say the database must maintain a valid state before and after a particular transaction. Like if you are going to perform the withdrawal of certain money from your account, then it must be maintaining a valid state, a consistent state. Let me try to explain it with example. Say person A is there and person B is there. Person B. Okay. So he has done the withdrawal, or what I can say, transferred 50K to B, and over here what I can say, received 50K from A. Okay. So over here, with respect to the consistency, what I have mentioned, like the database remains in a valid state before and after the transaction. So over here, with respect to the valid state, like the in both account total balance in both of the account must remain consistent. So say previously it was having say 1.5 lakh. Okay, and it was having say 50K. It was having 50K. Now it has transferred certain amount, 50K. Okay, so transferred 50K, 50K transferred, and over here received 50K. Okay. So the balance over here at this moment, balance, that is say total. So 1.5k, 1.5 lakh plus 50k, that is 2 lakhs. And over here at this moment the balance will be what? 1 lakh. And over here the balance, what it will be? 1 lakh. Huh? Or let me try to say instant 1 lakh and 1 lakh. So that is total of 2 lakh. Huh? So what I'm trying to say, consistency property of a particular database is specifying that the database must remain in a consistent stage before and after a particular transaction. The transaction over here is transferring the 50k amount to another person, like to the person B. So over here at every instant, like before the transaction, the amount was 2 lakh. That is the sum of person A and B. And after the transaction, this is the transaction which was happening, okay, which was happened. And after this particular transaction the balance in both of these two accounts is 2 lakh. So that is denoting the consistency. So both of these particular persons total is having the same, that is consistent. So if like say it has transferred 50k and over here like the amount is not reflected, so at that moment what we can say, the database is not consistent in nature, because the total in both of the account is not the same before the transaction and after the transaction, right? So let me write it down. It is ensuring that database remains in a valid state before and after the transaction. Okay, so that is nothing but consistency.
Hmm. Ashok, valid means
Valid, you can say consistent. Okay,
actually still I am not getting exactly what this atomicity, consistency, both.
atomicity and consistency, or
Both
consistency.
still,
Okay,
no, both
let
still I
me
am confusing.
let me explain it once again. Okay, so consistency is denoting the balance. Say if this particular person is performing the transfer, okay, A is trying to transfer some money to person B. So it is saying, say, uh, before the transfer and after the transfer, the the balance in both of the account, the balance of both of the account, the total balance of both of the account must remain same. Say if it has done the transfer of 1.5 lakh, okay, and sorry, it has done the transfer for 50k and the balance was 1.5 lakh. And earlier, like before getting the 50k from this particular person A, the balance was 50k. So the cumulative total of these two accounts is 2 lakhs. So that is like the the state before the transaction. Now the transaction is happening, and we are going to transfer certain money. So it is denoting, say, the balance, the total balance of both of the account must remain same. It will not be impacted. Say if it has done the transfer Okay, it has done the transfer, and still we are having 50k only. Okay, so still we are having 50k, and the amount what I can say over here is 1.5 lakh. Okay, so the state before the transaction was 2 lakh, and after the transaction was 1.5 lakh, the balance. Okay, so at this moment, what we can say, the the transaction is not consistent in nature, because before transaction and after transaction the balance is not the same, right? So what is happening, uh let me take an example. So probably like you have seen certain LinkedIn post, and earlier what was happening, say if you are providing the review to a LinkedIn post, then that was not uh, reflected instantly. Or if like you are going to rate certain product onto the Amazon, that is not reflecting instantly. So what is happening over there? The Amazon team or LinkedIn team is trying to check the post what you have written, the quality check and all that is being happening. Like, do we publish this particular review, or is this particular review uh, good, or like will can we have certain betterment in terms of business, in terms of like increasing the business and all with this particular review. So they are going to analyze that particular review and all, and based upon that, after certain duration you will be able to see that particular review. So that is nothing but we are not having consistency over there. Whatever we are like uh, writing over there, that is not reflecting instantly. Okay, so consistency is not there, because like those particular things will be stored somewhere, then analysis is being happening. After the analysis, after certain duration, we are getting the the outcome. Although like it might be possible, like if they are going to remove that particular post or review, that is quite possible over there. So now you can think in this particular way, like we are going to say make a transaction that is say 5k withdrawal from account. Now, is there any way that that particular transaction will not be visible? We will see that particular transaction is like, if it is like the withdrawal of money, or if it is the like you are going to deposit some money, so that particular transaction will be visible. Okay, and that is because of asset compliant. That is because of asset compliance. So atomicity consistency is denoting like whatever we have given, whatever we are having before the transaction or after the transaction, that particular stuff will remain same, right? Before transaction we were having the balance 2 lakhs in both of the account, and after transaction we are having say 1 point lakh, so 1.5, so that is not consistent in nature. We must have the if this has done the withdrawal, if this person has transferred, then this person must get that particular amount if it is transferred in with reference to this person. So the cumulative total of both of these two account must be same. At that moment, we can say the transaction is having consistency. Okay, and the valid state is nothing but valid state means valid state before and after. That is denoting say it must be same. Okay, it must be consistent before the transaction and after the transaction. It must be same. So that is denoted by the consistency. With respect to atomicity, atomicity is saying say if this particular transaction, like if it is trying to transfer money. Okay, if this person is trying to transfer money, and the money transfer was not successful, then it must be fall back to the previous data. Say if it was having 1.5 lakh, so after the transaction, in case of failure, it must be having 1.5 lakh. It is not like say 50k was transferred and the money is deducted from the account, right? Are you able to get or still confused?
Mm, yes, now it's almost clear.
What is the confusion, or what was the confusion? Let me proceed in that way. What was the confusion?
Like if there is a person C
Mm-hmm.
and person A is transferring money to person C, then this consistency will be checked between person A and person C, like that.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay.
And atomicity is saying, say if the transaction is not successful, then the it must be fall back to the previous data.
Okay.
Okay,
So
let me take another
definitely it
example.
will. These will
Uh-huh.
be you can say implied only on this RDB BMS,
Yes,
not
yes,
on
that is with respect to
not on
RDBMS.
analytical. It cannot be acid compliant.
In
That is
analytical, you can drop this transaction.
yes, yes.
You are having the liberty to drop this transaction if like you are not able to maintain the previous, say at this moment you are having balance 1.5 lakh and earlier it was 2 lakh, so what you
Hmm.
can do, you can just remove this particular transaction. Okay, or what you can do, you can play with certain transactions, and then you can maintain with that particular aspect, right? Let me take another example. Say we are having two sides, probably at that moment you will be having better clarity, so say we are having say cell A and say cell B, okay, cell A and cell B, so you are trying to offload cell A that is say heavily loaded, so it is say having say 150k 150 Erlang traffic, okay, and over here like it is having say 30k 30 Erlang traffic only, cell B is having 30 Erlang traffic, now what you have done first, like you have implemented certain say offloading, you have done certain settings with respect to offloading this particular cell, okay, you have implemented certain parametric change, okay, so like after changing this particular after changing some parameter, offloading parameter over here, like you what you are going to assume that the traffic from cell A will be moving to cell B. So say what you have done, you have based upon your parameter change, the the traffic was reduced to 100 Erlang, and over here the traffic is 60 Erlang only, okay, so you have applied certain parameter. If we are talking say about the Nokia, so BLT is there, CL CBH, what is the parameter for offloading in Ericsson,
PBH.
CLH, I'm not able to recall, okay, whatever, that is not the thing.
CLS,
So
CLS,
CLH.
CLS,
Okay.
cell load sharing. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, CLS. So you have implemented CLS over here. Now, at this moment, earlier it was having 150K. So the total traffic was 180 Erlang. And after implementing CLS, you are the traffic is decreased to 100 Erlang. But in cell B, you are getting 60 Erlang only. The increase of traffic 60 Erlang only. So the cumulative total is 160 Erlang. Erlang. Okay, so at this moment, what I can say, like this is not a consistent transaction. This is not having the consistency. Before the applying the parameter or after applying the parameter, the outcome is not the same. Now you need to identify where like this particular load is shifted. The traffic has been shifted. It might be possible you will be having certain black hole over there, okay, or like the coverage is not available and the traffic uh, is you are not getting the traffic, or that particular traffic uh, is removed because of that particular coverage issue and all. So this is not a consistent transaction, whatever you have done with this particular CLS change. Okay. Now, now in another word, that is with respect to the consistency. Now, in another words, say previously, like you were trying to implement the the s- you were trying to offload this particular cell A that was heavily utilized. Now, another way, like I'm talking about with respect to the atomicity. So you have implemented the parameter uh, CLS. CLS. So you have implemented the CLS, but the CLS settings are not available over there, or like the cell is not accepting the CLS parameter, or like the that is already having say 100%, that is already set to the higher value. Okay, so it is not going to accept that particular parametric change. So that is nothing but like if you are able to change, then that is fine. Otherwise it will be remain on to the previous state. It will be restored to the previous state. Okay, so it will remain on to the previous state, what I can say. So that particular parametric change will not happen, and there will not be any impact to this particular traffic. It will remain the same, right? So that is something about atomicity. Either like change is there, or nothing will happen over there, right? Either change or nothing will happen. You can take with this particular line, either change is there or nothing will happen, right? So that is denoted by atomicity. So if the transaction is treated single, either complete or fallback, either like the change is there, or it will be shifted to fallback. The value change, or transactional change, or anything that you can say, or withdrawal of money, either like it will be the transaction will be complete, or it will be shifted to fallback, or it is going to maintain the previous state, right? With respect to consistency, the pre and post, that will remain same. The cumulative total will remain same. So over here this is not consistent. With this particular example, this is also not consistent. But if it is like say 2 lakh, then we can say the system is consistent, and like we are compliant to this particular property. Fine, is it clear?
Yes, yes. Ashok, it's clear.
Okay, fine. Now isolation. With respect to the isolation, what we are having, inside a system we will be having multiple transactions. So isolation is saying, say if there are multiple transactions inside the system, then one transaction is not going to infer another transaction. Okay, and uh, one transaction must be performed in such a way that this is the only transaction running inside the system. Let me write it down and then explain. Execution is specifying that execution of multiple transaction in a system or concurrently will not interfere with each other. The system. Okay, so isolation, isolation as the word denoting itself. Isolation, say if we are having multiple transactions, or like we are having say cell A, cell B, or cell C, or what we are having say person A, person B, person C. Okay, all of these particular persons are going to perform the transactions, and these particular transactions are performed concurrently in the system, at a single instant. At a particular point of time, multiple transactions are being executed in the system. You can think in this particular way, like a lot of persons are going to utilize the banking website or application in order to perform the transaction, or you can say like multiple persons throughout the world, throughout India, what I can say, are going to utilize phone pay or paytm app in order to perform their payments. Uh, so multiple persons are using those particular apps concurrently. Okay, but uh, it is not like say one person is inferring to the another person, or like say if one person is going to transfer to say person A, and by mistakenly it is transfer one like person A is trying to transfer to person B, and by mistakenly it has gone to the person C. That will not happen inside the RDBMS. So you have seen like the cross call related issues inside the telecom. So cross call, like you are trying to call to A, and like uh, the call is uh, linked with the person B or C, whatever. Okay, so at that moment, what we can say, that is not uh, obeying, or that is not compliant to the isolation property of the RDBMS. So isolation is nothing but once like concurrently multiple users are there, they will not infer with each other, and the transaction which is going on, will that particular transaction will be executed in such a way that this is the only transaction running inside the system. It is not going to infer to any another transaction. Clear? Isolation.
Yes, Ashok, it's clear.
What about others? Isolation, consistency, and
Yeah, clear.
automaticity.
Clear, Ashok.
Perfect. Durability. Yeah, durability. It means once we are going to commit a particular transaction, or you can think in this particular way, uh, like in case of system failure, the state will remain same. Okay, so with respect to the database, what I can say, like if a particular transaction is committed, it means like inside the transaction, what is happening inside the database, friend. Like say if we are going to say insert certain record, insert say into uh, into say table, and we are having certain values. Okay, so certain values we are going to insert, and after insert, what we are going to say commit it. Okay, committing is a, you can say, command which is going to move this particular transaction what we have done recently. Okay, it will be moved to database permanently. It will be, you can say, marked permanent, as a permanent inside the database. So durability is saying if a transaction is marked committed, then it will not be lost, if even if the system is failed. If the system is having certain failures and all, or because of like n number of regions, connectivity lost and all, this particular transaction will marked as a permanent inside the database. Let me write it down and then explain it once again. It means once a transaction is committed, then it's will not be lost. Change made committed transactions and will survive system crash and failure. Okay. So you can think onto this particular example, like say if person A has transferred to person B and it has received like 50K, and the cumulative total of person B account, that is 1.5 lakh. Okay, so 50K was there, and say 50K was transferred, and like that is 1 lakh. So 1 lakh, and after that, like the system was having certain issues, or the power failure, and certain other stuff was there. So if this particular transaction was happened and it is marked as committed, it is marked as committed, if this particular transaction has been done and it is marked committed, then it will be it will be stored permanently inside the database, and the system failure related stuff will not having any impact onto this particular thing. So inside the transaction like systems, say what we are having, say you can think in this particular way, like server. one. Okay, server one, and it is having say disk, disk one. Okay, and it is having say disk two as well. So server one is going to store the transactions, and we will be having the backup into the disk 2 as well. Okay, server 1 is going to maintain the backup into the disk 2 because of any reason, like if this is the we are talking about the monolithic system, how like we will be able to achieve this durability related stuff, huh? So server 1, or like this is the rdbms, uh, which is storing its data onto the disk, and it's having the backup onto the disk too. It depends upon you, like you can have multiple backups of the same data in based upon the flavor of data, like if the data is uh, highly secure and all, and you don't want to lose that particular data, then you can have three backups or four backups. Okay, so if because of certain issues like disk one is not responding, then you will be able to get the data from disk two. Okay, or what we are having, we will be having certain cloud storage. So inside the cloud storage, we will be going to maintain the data into the different availability zones. Let me try to show you one diagram. Okay, just have a look. So these are nothing but different availability zones of Amazon. Now, what I have mentioned, say if one is like I'm having a particular RDBMS, okay, I'm utilizing say AWS RDBMS service. Say I am using RDS from the Amazon side. That is nothing but RDBMS from the Amazon side. Okay, I'm using that particular RDS in order to process my data. And like RDS is or RDBMS is going to maintain the durability. In case of the system crash, then we will be able to recover that particular data of the committed transactions. So how that is possible? So inside this, what we are having, we are going to have the backup into the different availability zone. Say I'm residing inside the availability zone 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the backup of say inside the availability zone 3 inside the USA. In each and every country, say we are having say different zones. Just have a look, regions and availability zones. So we are going to put the data into different availability zones, and say if we are in say India, then we can put it inside the probably this is the Malaysia, or in Australia, or in China or Japan, whatever, wherever we are going to have. So based upon the charges and all, we will be having different charges into the different availability zones, or uh, at that moment, like we can put our data over there, and then we will be able to recover if the system is crashing. So that is like that is achieved with the help of like cloud distributed storage. In the on premises solution, what we are having, we are going to put the disk with monolithic machine, and that particular standby disk is going to copy the data of the transactions, and if the system is crashing, then we will be able to recover. So durability is a condition that is denoting if the system is crashed because of any reason, we will be able to recover that particular transaction which was committed. Durability, like in case of system failure, our transaction will not be lost, right? Fine. Is it clear? Durability.
Yes, Ashok, clear.
Yes, it's clear.
Guys, are you able to hear me?
Yes, now you are audible.
Yes, now you are audible. I think
I
in
don't know
between we
what
have
has
lost you.
happened. Oh, don't know what has happened. Okay, we were discussing about the acid properties and atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. These are the four properties. And once a particular, you can say, database is like the databases are going to have the compliance from all of these particular properties. Once we are talking about data warehouse, these are not the acid compliant. Okay, Hive is not the acid compliant. It is compliant up to some extent. Okay, it is not fully acid compliant. We will see like how the Hive is going to work on to like what are the different things that we are able to achieve from the acid compliant proper perspective from the Hive. Okay, moving further, what we are having inside Hive. Okay, Hive is for RDBMS. RDBMS are having schema on write. Okay. RDBMS are having schema on write, but in Hive we are having schema on read. So once you are going to write inside the database, say I'm having a particular file. Okay, so file, and what I need to do, I need to define the schema inside the RDBMS. Create schema, and then create schema. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to load this particular data, and then I'm going to read the data. Okay, or query the data. What I can say,
Ashok, what
read.
is schema?
I'm going to explain.
Oh,
Okay, so what we are having inside the RDBMS, the schema is there on write. Like say if we are having certain data inside a CSV file or Excel file, then what we are going to do inside the RDBMS, we are going to create the schema. Then we are going to load this particular file. Okay, and then we are going to read it. Okay, that is the normal flow. Read oblique say analysis. Analysis. That is what we used to perform with the help of RDBMS. So, but what we are having in case of Hive, what we are having already, like what we are having file inside the database, and sorry, files are available inside the data lake, and on top of these particular files, what we are going to do, we are going uh, to to write the schema, and then we will be able to read the data. Okay, so data already available in HDFS, then create schema and read the data. Okay, so in order to, you can say, load the data, or in order to write the data, we need to have schema in case of RDBMS. But once we need to read the data, or once we need to query the data in Hive, what we are going to do, we are going to create the schema, and data is already available inside the HDFS. Inside this RDBMS, like we are going to load the data. Okay, file, say file is there, and with respect to the file, we are going to create the schema. So let me try to explain basic things about the schema. Say like what we are having a particular Excel file now. Okay, in this particular file, say we are having some certain, say, employee ID, then say employee name, and then say employee salary. Okay. And ID, let me say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and say employee name, what I can say, Tom, Nick, Harry. Okay, say Pankaj, and Vikas, Swati, Gaurav. Okay, and say Rohit, Keshav. Okay, say these are the employees name, and say salary. Let me mention certain salaries. Say, and let me try to mention it in closing order. Okay, so say we are having these particular salaries with respect to this particular employee, and this is nothing but say employee table. So this is employee table what we are having now. Now, once we are going to create, or once we are going to load this particular data, this particular file inside the RDBMS, then what we need to do, we are going to create a schema based upon this particular table. So the schema, what it will be? So schema, what it will be? The schema is say uh, create table. Okay, and create table, uh, say employee. Okay, okay, creates employee table, table, and over here what we are going to have, say employee name, that is of say integer type, integer. Then what I can have, employee ID integer, employee ID integer, employee name of say varchar. Okay, and say salary, say integer. Okay, so this is nothing but what I have done. I have created a schema. Okay, schema, that is like what are the different columns and its data type uh, with respect to a data set. So I have checked the flavor of the data what I'm having, and based on the flavor of this particular data, I'm going to create a schema, and this particular schema is utilized to load the data into the database. Right, right, friends. Yes.
Yes, Ashok, yes. The schema content must be equivalent, whatever the name we are taking here in header in Excel, or can it be
So
different?
it can be different. It can be different. It will depends on you, like what name you are going to give to the data. Okay, so it is going to create like what you will be having in the real world. You will be having data, say like this. So you will be getting the data like this. Say, let me delete this. Okay, so at this moment you need to define, you need to provide the name for this particular table, this particular column. Okay, for this particular column, this particular column, right? So you are going to define the name, the data type with respect to the flavor of data, and at that moment, like the table schema will be ready, and this particular table will not be having any data until unless you are not going to load the data. Okay, right?
Ashok, can we do
Hmm.
this with some example?
Okay, let me try to do this. So, hmm, okay, so let me try to let me try to employ table. Okay, so if we are going to write, okay, this is a MySQL. Now create say database and say batch 32. So show databases. Batch 32 database is available. Use batch 32. Okay. So I'm inside the batch 32. I'm having MySQL, and in this particular MySQL, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a table. Okay, so say this is the command create table employee. I'm going to create an employee table that will be having say employee ID. Employee ID is of say integer type, employee name varchar type, and then employee salary that will be of integer type. Let me copy this and paste it over here. Okay, what is the issue? Okay, so variable character. So over here I can mention in this particular way. create table employee, employee ID integer, employee name variable character. Things are looking fine now. Okay, show tables. Okay, so we are having employee table at this moment. So what we have done, we have created one table and uh, describe employee. Okay, so it is going to provide you the schema of this particular table. So fields are employee ID, employee name, employee's salary, and what I'm having integer is the data type that I have given. Employee name is of variable character. Okay, that is nothing but the string type. See, okay, varchar, that is with respect to the MySQL. Integer, that is nothing but the data type for the employee salary. Now what I can do, I have created this particular schema. Okay, now over here there is no data in this particular table. I have not loaded any data, and that is what I have mentioned over here. RDBMS are having schema on write. So I need to load the data in this particular table, and before loading the data or before inserting the data into this particular table, I need to create the schema. Okay, I'm having, and if like I'm loading with the help of say Excel file, or I'm going to insert records in this particular table, then I need to have this particular schema. Okay, so describe is, that is going to describe this particular table, provide the information with respect to each and every column. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I'm having this particular file, and I'm going to load this particular file. Say, let me try to, so over here I'm having this particular file. Where is, okay, employee table. I'm going to copy this particular file and I'm going to share it with, I'm going to put it inside the share folder and over here. So employee table is available over here inside my Cloudera Quick Start VM at this moment, because I have pasted it inside the shared folder, and I'm able to see shared folder over here. So over here the employee table is available. Employee table, employee table dot xlsx. So let me try to copy the path of this particular table, and this is the path, and this is the file name. This is the file name. Okay, perfect. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to load this particular data, this particular file inside this particular table. So load data in file, that is a command, in file from this particular path. Okay, load data in file into table, and I just need to give the table name into table employee, and over here fields are terminated. So just a minute. Let me try to see, open with, What will be the fill terminator? Fill terminator for let me try to check. So I think fill terminator for XLS file is comma. Okay. So fields terminated by comma, then enclosed by lines terminated by n. And this particular file is having header, so I'm not going to use that particular header. So ignore one row. So the command is very simple. Over here, I have just like mentioned, probably like once I'm going to use the SX file. So the fields, say this particular employee. Let me try to check a fields terminated. Share folder, employee table open with say Notepad plus plus. It is not able to open it properly. Okay. So let me try to do probably like the main thing, friends, what is mentioned over here. So load data, this is the path where my file is present. Employee table is the .x XLSX is the file which I'm trying to load into this particular table, employee table. And over here, fields terminated by this is with respect to the Excel file. Like if we are having Excel files, if we are having CSV file, then fields terminated by this and line terminated by this. That is perfectly fine. But and enclosed by enclosed by inverted commas and this particular comma and for the new line uh, for backward slash n. So these are the things with respect to to the XLS files. So I'm having the doubt onto these particular things. Let me try it first, and then like if things are working, then we will proceed. So probably with respect to the so load data in file each and everything. Let me try to do execution. So manual, you have error in the SQL syntax. Check the manual corresponding to the SQL. Load data in file into table employee. Fields terminated by this and closed by this. Lines terminated by this. Ignore row 1. Just a minute. Save as .csv. Yeah. Still the same. Just a minute. It should work. Let me check. MySQL table. Mhm. Create, that is fine. Load in file into table name. Fields terminated by this, enclosed by this, lines terminated by this. Row. Syntax is same. Huh?
It's a case sensitive or
No. It will work. Previously as well, like create table
okay,
employee. Over here, if you are able to see, create table name. Huh?
okay.
In table, let me check. Load data in file. In file, this is the file name. Into table name. Fields terminated by this and closed by this. Lines ignore one rows. Each and everything is fine. Let me try to just copy and paste it over here. Still the same. Just a minute. What is the error? Hmm. Okay. Let me try to. Okay. So just have a look. Huh? So this particular it is not taking this version of MySQL is not taking this particular line. This ignore row one. It is not going to ignore. It is not working with this. Otherwise, like the command is perfect. We are able to we are able to load the data from this particular CSV file. So just have a look over here. So over here, say employee name is coming. And the salary, employee salary with respect to this employee salary is there 0. So it has taken like say employee ID 0, employee name, and then salary. Okay, so this particular record is what like it has taken by itself because of this particular column. Because of this particular column, employee ID, employee name, and salary. So we have not given this particular record because of the first row. It has taken this particular. It has not ignored. We supposed to ignore this particular row, and the command ignore one rows that is not working, and because of that, like it was throwing error. Okay, however, like in other versions, other versions, or you can say Postgres and all, you will be able to load in this particular way by ignoring a particular row. And what I have mentioned, like you will get the data in this particular format, say, and at that moment you will be able to decide like which one is the heading for your row one, which one is the name of column two, which one will be the name of the column three. Okay, but you will be able to ignore. Okay, over here like there might be a certain other word in order to ignore. Okay, so at this moment what I'm trying to say, you have created a table. Okay, with respect to the content, you have created a table and its schema with respect to the content which is given in the Excel file. Now you have loaded that particular Excel file inside this particular table, and then command is like quite straightforward. Load into this particular file, and load this particular file into this particular table, and these are the things with respect to Excel or CSV, like fields terminated by comma and closed by this, and lines terminated by the new line. Okay, so these are the things with respect to a CSV file or Excel file, or based upon the file that you are going to have. Okay, so you need to change these particular things, like fields are terminated by this or not, lines are enclosed by this or not, or the 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 lines are terminated by new line content or not. So these particular things are with respect to the flavor of data. Now you are able to load this particular data inside a particular file. So now you will be able to now you will be able to do the analysis. Say select uh, employee name from say employee table where employee ID, sorry, select employee name, let me write it down over here first and then I will paste it over here. From employee table where say employee ID, okay. So let me try to do the execution. Okay, so select employee name from employee table where employee ID equal to 5, that is because okay, now you can perform the analysis on to top of this particular data. So what we have done, say if we are going to have this particular data, if we are having certain data in a particular file, what we are going to do, and we need to do the analysis with the rdbms. So what we need to do, we just need to first create the schema of this particular create the schema with respect to the data which is available in this particular file inside the rdbms. So what we have done, with respect to this particular step, we have defined the schema. Okay, create file, this one, this is the schema. Then second step is load the data. So with this particular step, what we have done, we have loaded the the data into this particular file. Okay, the third step, what it will be, like you are performing the analysis onto this particular file. Okay, so these are the three steps once you are performing the analysis with the help of rdbms. So loading file is done after creating creation of the schema, and then you are going to perform the the analysis. So that is first step is create schema. Okay, second step is load data into the table, and third one is say perform analysis on table. Okay, so these are the three steps what we are having inside the rdbms once we are performing the analysis. Okay, and that is what, like, we need to perform schema on write. Okay, so first we are going to create the schema, then we are writing, and then we are performing the analysis. Okay, this is with respect to the the rdbms. But once we are having the analysis based upon the hive, okay, once we are going to perform the analysis based on the Hive. Like Hive is utilized to do the analysis onto the data which is stored inside the HDFS. Okay, which is stored inside the HDFS. So Hive is having two parts. What we have seen, data plus metadata. We know it very well, metadata. So data is already available inside the HDFS. HDFS is having data already, and once you need to do the analysis on top of this particular data, then what you are going to perform, you are going to create the schema. Okay, at this moment you are going to create the schema on top of this particular data, and then you will be able to do the analysis. So you are going to create schema on read. Just have a look and ask if you are having any doubt. Schema on read, on schema on write.
So can you please explain this schema on Hive, like on read?
Okay, so how we are maintaining the data inside the HDFS? How we are maintaining the data inside HDFS? In terms of what? Inside HDFS, how we are maintaining the data? Let me try to show you.
Mm,
Hadoop fs-ls. Mm-hmm. Yes, Pankaj.
nothing.
Okay. So we are having, say, this test directory. Hadoop fs-ls test directory. Okay, so test directory is having certain files and certain more directories, right? Now data is already available inside the HDFS. This is nothing but HDFS, user Cloudera. This is the home directory for Cloudera, okay, or Hadoop. This is the home directory for Hadoop, and home Cloudera, that is the home directory for local. So we are having some certain data in terms of files. Okay, and what you need to do, you need to perform the analysis on top of those particular files. You can think in this particular way. Let me try to explain it with the example. So what we are having say different servers. We are having say server 1, we are having server 2, server 3, server 4. These are nothing but say certain nodes which are generating data. Okay. Now what we need to do, we are going to perform the ingestion, data ingestion, data ingestion, and data ingestion is done and data is available inside the HDFS. Okay. So data available, that will be available in terms of files. Okay, so files, in terms of files, you will be having data inside the HDFS. Say n number of files are there. Now it's the time for Hive to do the analysis on top of this particular data. Okay, so what we are going to do, say if the data is available inside the files, okay, and we need to perform the analysis. Hive is nothing but the analytics tool. With the help of Hive, we are going to perform the analysis based upon the files which are stored inside this particular HDFS. So inside HDFS, we are having files and we are leveraging Hive for the analysis perspective. So what we are going to do? We are going to create the schema based upon the data which is available over here. So say this is the file which is placed inside the HDFS. Okay. Now this file is placed inside the HDFS, and what you need to do, you need to create the schema based upon the flavor of the data. What we have done in MySQL, same stuff we are going to perform inside the Hive. But at this moment, what is happening, the data already available inside HDFS, we are going to perform the analysis. Our need is to perform the analysis onto these particular files, so we are creating schema. Okay, so schema is nothing at this moment. Schema is on read because we are trying to read the data from these particular files in order to have the analysis. At this moment, what was happening, just try to recall what has happened in RDBMS. So we are having files. Okay, we are trying to load these particular files inside the RDBMS. We are trying to load these particular files inside RDBMS, and in order to load these particular file inside RDBMS, we are going to create the schema based upon the data which is there inside files. So we are creating schema and then loading files. Okay, so up to so far no analysis concept was there, because we are trying to write the data. Okay, trying to write the data into RDBMS. We are trying to write the data into database. So once you are trying to write the data into RDBMS, then you are going to have the schema. So that's why like schema on write over here, and inside the Hive, we are having schema on read because data is already available inside the HDFS. Hive is having two components, data plus metadata, and data is nothing but actual data. Actual data is placed in terms of files inside the HDFS. Okay, now you need to do the analysis at this moment. Because of like you are willing to perform the analysis, you are going to create the schema, and then you will be having the analysis. Okay, so that's why we are saying say schema on read. Fine, is it clear?
Yes, Ashok. Now clear.
Just a minute, let me try to show you something. Okay, so that's that is a difference between RDBMS and Hive. Like once you are working with Hive, then schema is on red over there. We will be working in detail, like we will be going to create different tables. We will be trying to load the data into those particular tables from local, from HDFS. A lot of things we are going to perform. Okay, and hmm, okay, so let me try to do this and try to show you something. Say we are going to create a table. Uh, Inside the MySQL tables or RDBMS table, this is one way of loading the data. Another way of loading the data, that is with the help of insert command. Insert command, with the help of insert command as well, you will be able to load the data. Okay, insert command. Okay. So with the help of insert command as well, you will be able to load the data inside the RDBMS. Okay, let me show you an example. Say insert into and say employee. Employee is the table name. Insert into the employee, and you will be having say values. And with respect to the values, you just say employee ID 9. So you are going to say mention say employee ID 10, and then name you can mention say, say Anubhav Singh. Okay, and salary you can give a salary that is in terms of integer. Okay, okay, that is the salary, and you just comment this. Okay, semicolon, and then that's fine. So with the help of this as well, you will be able to load the data. Okay, and now you are going to say commit data. So commit, just have a look what we have seen, like committed 0 rows affected. So commit is a property inside the database, like once you are going to commit something, then that particular transaction, so we have done this particular transaction, it is stored permanently inside the database. If like we are having the impact of certain failures and all, then this particular transaction will not be impacted. Let me try to show you. Select star from employee. Okay, so we are able to see this particular entry as well. Okay, so over here inside the database, like we will be able to create tables. First we will need to create the schema of the table, then we need to load the data, and after loading the data we are going to perform the analysis. So over here, like insert command, that is the fourth. If you want to insert more records, if you want to delete records, there are certain other things as well, like if you want to delete records, if you want to modify, a lot of things are there. Okay, that you can perform with the help of the RDBMS. But with respect to the Hive, okay, like we are going to create the Hive tables. After creating the Hive tables, there are multiple ways what we have seen in RDBMS in order to load the data. Okay, let me try to show you one of the way, and then we'll try to show you something with respect to mapper and reducer. Okay, so say what we are having a particular table. Okay, I'm going to creation of table and creation of Hive table. Okay, I'm going to create a particular table, say create table, and I'm going to say give a name employee, and over here inside the employee table, say employee id that will be say of integer type. Then I'm having say name is of say string type. Okay, inside the database, MySQL, we have used name or employee name like if I want to be more specific, employee name. So we have used variable character over here. At this moment, we are going to use string. Okay, and then say salary. Okay. Salary is say again say integer. Perfect. And row format delimited and fields fields terminated by comma and store as text file. So I'm going to create a table that is the employee table. It will be having three columns: employee ID, employee name, and salary. And what we are going to have, these are the, you can say, like once I'm going to say insert, I will be able to see the fields. So the fields are terminated by comma and stored as a text file. And so we will be having the different file formats, different types of file. We can store a Hive table into different formats. So we will see these particular, we will learn these particular format. Different types of formats are there, say text file, ORCS, DFS. Some different types of formats are there. We will be learning in detail. But at this moment, we are just trying to create a particular table and trying to insert certain records. So let me try to copy this, and I'm going to open say Hive. Okay, I have started the Hive. Okay, and now show databases. Same stuff what we have seen. Show databases. Okay, so over here we are having one database that is default. So let me create a database. Create database and say batch say 32. Batch 32. I'm going to create over here as well. Then use batch 32. I'm going to use that particular database what I have created. Okay, so I'm having this particular Hive. Now I'm going to do what? I'm going to create that particular table. So create table employee ID integer, employee name, string, salary string, row format delimited, fields terminated by comma, store as a text file. It is going to store it as a stack text file. So
Field spelling.
spelling mistake. Okay, so fields terminated by good catch. So let me try to paste it over here. Perfect, and the table has been created. So the same command we will be able to run select star show tables. Okay, that is going to list like the employee table. Okay, so if you are able to see with respect to the MySQL and this Hive, like the same stuff, like we have created one database, we have used that database. Inside that database, what we have done, we have created a table. Now this is also a blank table. It is not having anything. Select star from say employee. Okay, nothing is there. So it is coming blank. No time taken 0, and we are not able to see anything because this is the blank table. Okay, now once we are trying to load the data in a particular Hive table, then there are different ways. So first way is like you can create a table on the data which is placed inside the SDF. So that is the most preferred way. That is the most preferred way. And Another way, like once the data, how to load the data into Hive tables. Create tables on top of data placed inside the HDFS. So this is the most preferred way, and Hive is meant to work in this particular way. Like if you are having certain data that is placed inside the tables, inside the HDFS in terms of files, so you are going to create tables on top of that particular data. Okay, and then you will be able to do the analysis. But there is like some another ways as well. There are certain other ways as well. Like once the data is placed on local, okay, local, then like we will be able to load the data into the Hive table. That is something like what we have seen in MySQL. This is not preferred, although like this is the only way inside the MySQL, and MySQL was working in this particular way. And third is say insert, insert as well, insert with insert command, insert command. Okay, that is same in both. Okay, insert. But over here, this is not preferred way because it is consuming a lot of resources. Just have a look. This is these two are not preferred. Okay, this is the preferred way once you are working with Hive. Okay, I'm explaining it once again. I'm pushing on it once again. Like Hive is meant to deal, or Hive is meant to work once the data is placed inside the HDFS. Is not meant to deal with once the data is placed onto the local and you are going to load the data from single file, and then you are going to do the analysis, or you are going to insert the records manually. Yeah? So these two are not preferred way. Okay, now say let me try to do it in this particular way. Say insert into table, and what I can say, values, and this is the same, I think, values, and I'm going to say use these particular values. Insert into table, and table is nothing but employee. Employee, and values, let me try to mention values. This is Anubhav Singh, first value. Okay, I can have the values, these particular values, say copy, and let me try to paste it over here. So I'm going to insert certain values. I just I'm just trying to show you something. Okay. And So we are having these particular records, and I'm trying to insert these particular records inside the Hive table what I have created. Okay, so I'm trying to insert these particular records. These are the string values. I need to make these values as a string. Okay, things are looking fine. Okay, so these are the records, and I'm trying to insert these particular records inside the employee table what I have created in the previous step. So let me try to copy and paste it inside the Hive terminal. Insert spelling mistake. So over here, like can't recognize input near insert. Okay, so just have a look. You need to focus over here. So over here, once you are trying to insert the records with the help of this insert command, then the map reduce job is fired. Just have a look. So number of mapper 1 reducer 0, mapper 0% reducer 0%. So this particular reduce job is fired, and like it after the execution of this particular map reduce job, we will be able to insert the records into the table that we have created. So select star from employee. Okay, and just have a look, like we are able to get the records from the table, like whatever we have inserted. So previously, friends, once we were working with the RDBMS, then like it was taking very less time once we were inserting the records. Okay, just have a look over here. Probably if we are able to see the time. So so was insert into the table. Okay, it was completed in 0.1 second, 1.01 second. Okay, okay, it was completed in this particular duration. Once we were inserting the records with the help of MapReduce, then it has taken 3 seconds, 980 milliseconds now. So this particular time, or you can say in total, it has taken 34.708 seconds in order to insert all the records, right? So once we are going to insert the records with the help of MapReduce, that is very time consuming if we are comparing it with the with the RDBMS. So over here, this is not the preferred way, because at each and every insert, like the MapReduce job is fired. Although like the reducer is not working over here, there is no need to reduce. Okay, only mappers are working. Now try to think whatever we have seen in our previous sessions, like, so we are having huge amount of data, and we are trying to do the analysis on top of that particular data. So either like we can proceed with writing the code in Java, and that particular code will work for you and you will be able to do the analysis. Another way, you can write down the Hive query, and that particular Hive query is going to perform the execution on top of your code, and internally that will be, you can say, fired in terms of a Java code. Okay, and After the execution of that, you will be able to get the outcome. Over here you are just writing the SQL like queries, and based upon the SQL like queries, you are going to perform the analysis on top of data which is placed inside the HDFS. Okay, now let me show you something. So previously, once we were checking the meta store, we were not having anything inside the meta store. So show databases. Okay, and we are having information or meta store. So I'm going to copy this meta store, use meta store. I have changed the database, show tables. Okay, inside we are having TBLS, select star from TBLS, and just have a look. Okay, so and let me try to minimize, decrease the size. Select star for TBLS. So previously, once we were firing this particular command, we were not having anything. But just have a look at this moment. Once we are checking select star from TBLS, so it is giving me table ID. Table ID is 1. Create data. So this is created on this particular time. Database ID. This is the database ID. Last access time. This is owner Cloudera. Retention, we have not, you can say having retention. SDID, table name, just try to focus. Employee table. And that's what we have created inside the Hive. Right, this is the table what we have created in Hive, right? And this is of managed table. And we will see like what is managed table and what is external table. We will be learning those particular things. Okay, let me try to create another table. Say I'm going to create another table, and it's like the table name will be say booster analytics. Okay, this is the table what I'm going to create, and this particular table will be having 3 fields. Okay, let me try to copy this command and paste it inside the Hive. Okay, so the table has been created, and just have a look over here. Once I have created a table, then its entry is available inside the meta store, and this is of managed table. The ID is 2. Okay, this is the created date and time, create time. Okay, this is in Unix timestamp format. Let me try to show you. Copy, and I just want to convert this Unix timestamp to date converter. Okay, epoch converter. So this is the time that I'm going to convert, and just have a look over here. Okay, this is the time of my file or table that I have created, and this is denoting, this is saying say March 2 24/7.37 am. So this is not the correct time, like my machine is having 1308, but from where this particular time came, this particular time came from here. Okay, uh okay, just a minute. And this is say which zone, Boston EST plus 3. So we just need to convert it into the EST plus 3. EST. Okay, so just have a look over here. Your time zone is this one. Uh, uh, uh,
Ashok, here we are getting option. I think we can drop down in GMT. Go below. Human data to timestamp. Yeah, this one. Can you check this? No, it is. No worries. It is showing the Indian time, time zone.
So let me try to check over here. Boston, America, Boston. This one. So with respect to the system, this particular time will come. Boston.
I think you need to add 10,800 seconds to get that value.
So just I'm trying to show like this is the current time only when this particular table is created.
Yeah, here in the third row, you can see this Eastern time GMT plus 3. You need to add 10,800 seconds, then it will come up
Mhm.
in the third row.
Okay. So what we are having 10,800.
Yeah.
Let me try to check. 10:37 GMT. And what is the time of system? 11:43. Mhm. Unix to EST time conversion, time converter. Hmm. America. A lot of time zones are there in America. Okay, so IST, let me try to convert it to Asia, Hmm. Okay. So GMT time is this one, and with respect to this time, like the IST time is this one. So this is the almost the same. Like at what time we have created this particular table, right? Okay, fine. Right?
Right, Ishan.
So okay, so like this is with respect to our today's creation only. What I'm trying to say, although like we have created employee table in MySQL as well, but this is not with respect to MySQL. And because of that particular reason only, I have created another table like Boost Analytics table, and these are the managed table. Okay, let me try to cover like what we have seen in our today's session. So we have gone through with the difference between Hive and RDBMS, and over there, like what we have seen, Hive is utilized for the the huge data, and once we are having high large amount of data, and at that moment, like latency is not a major KPI for us. So at that time, we are leveraging Hive, and it is not obeying the asset properties. Then we have gone through with the asset properties and atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. These are the four properties what we have seen. Again, like one what we have seen, like over here inside the RDBMS, the schema is there on right. Once we are going to write something inside the RDBMS, then we are going to leverage. Uh, once we are going we are going to write down something inside the database, then we are going to create the schema first, then load the data and do the analysis. That is the normal flow inside the RDBMS. But once we are dealing with Hive, then Hive is working on to the data which is stored inside the HDFS. So over here, like schema is required once you are planning for the analysis. It is not like you are trying to load the data. Okay, so although like over here what we have seen, we have created a table, and then we have inserted the records. Okay, this is something like, say, we have loaded the data, but this is not the use case for Hive. Hive is meant for the data which is placed inside the HDFS. Then we are going to create the tables, and we have tried to create the tables, two tables inside the Hive, and then we have tried to insert the records. And once we have inserted the records, at that moment the map reduce job was fired, and based upon the map reduce job, the records are inserted into the given table. And this particular exercise is time taking stuff. Over here, like the same stuff was executed in a few seconds once we are working with MySQL. Because of that, like it is having low latency. Just try to have a look. Say if we are going to insert just one record, if we are going to insert one record, and say this is the record, say I'm going to just insert one record into this particular table, and just have a look over here. At this moment as well, it is going to fire the map reduce job. Okay, and inside the MySQL, this particular stuff was executing in almost, you can say, 0.01 second, but over here it is taking too much time. Just have a look. So insert is like the execution has been started, and now it has taken 29 seconds for inserting one record only into the table that we have created, Boost Analytics. Okay, so this is the time taking stuff over here. And like once you want to have the latency, low latency jobs, then like RDBMS is being preferred, although like RDBMS are not able to work onto the huge amount of data. Once we are having huge amount of data, then multiple machines are clubbed together in order to work for you, and then you will be able to get the outcome. So insert operation is not preferred inside the Hive, that we have seen. Okay, that we have seen. Although like once we will be going to insert with from the files and all, that will take very less time. We will see that particular stuff as well. So this is the thing. You try to create these particular tables, try to apply, insert, update, or delete these particular operations onto the tables. Okay, and do the practice. uh, Tomorrow like we will be going to discuss about the other stuff from the Hive, and that whatever what we are doing over here at this moment, that is the basic Hive stuff. We will be moving with the advanced Hive, where we will be discussing about the optimization technique and all. At this moment we are trying to create tables, insert records, create different types of tables. Today we have create managed tables, and we will be having external tables as well. So those particular things we will be going to learn once we will be having good hands-on onto the Hive, like creation tables, inserting records and all. Then we will proceed further with the optimization stuff inside the Hive. Okay, so that's it for today's session, friends.
Ashok,
If you are having any doubt, you can ask.
Ashok, do we need
Mhm.
to learn SQL as well or Hive?
Yes,
Because this
yes,
is
yes,
synchronized.
you need to have good command on SQL.
So can please suggest how we from where we need to learn any?
I'm going to like day by day, during the sessions we will be going through with the SQL commands and all.
Oh,
Like today we
okay,
have gone through with inserting the data from a particular file. So during your free time, you try to load your uh, you can create certain dummy data set and try to load it into the SQL tables, and try to
mm,
perform certain operations like say dropping records, inserting records. We will be going through with joining and all, how to join two tables and all. Okay, how to apply different conditions. Today we have seen say where clause,
mm,
searching records with where clause. So try to do the practice whatever we are covering in our sessions, and
okay,
I will be providing you certain examples or certain questions that you can try, and those will be good for the interview perspective as well. Okay, so you need to focus on to those particular practices. At that moment, you will be having better understanding about the
okay,
SQL and all. And this is very
okay,
simple as well in order to learn. So I will guide you. No need to worry. Okay, how to proceed further with SQL and the
okay,
required stuff.
okay.
Fine, na? Rohit, Vikas, Gaurav, Mukesh, Kapil.
Yes, yes, Ashok.
Fine.
Okay.
One
Ashok.
thing, Ashok, one thing just need to ask, like when we are firing this Hive command, then this mapper will come into picture, right? And this processing will be done as it was being done in earlier phase, like it was converted
Yes,
into
yes, yes.
keys and values pair, and earlier it like
Uh,
is it also converted into key and value pairs and like that, or
that
it is
is, you
converted
can
into
say, internal
database?
stuff. That is the internal stuff. Like how
Okay,
the execution is being happening. Although like mapper and reducer, all of those particular things are coming in picture. Then things are there. But from our side, like we just need to focus onto writing down the SQL commands. Okay, how the internal you can say uh, conversion is being happening. uh, like don't focus onto that particular stuff at this
okay,
moment.
but it
We
will
have
follow
seen.
the same way, like earlier it was
Yes, yes,
being followed.
definitely it will follow the same way. Definitely it will
Oh,
follow the same way.
fine. fine.
right? Mhm.
Right.
And that's
Right.
why like we are having this Hive in order to to get all of these particular things in a simple way or in a very easy way. We are having Hive. Although like if you want to if someone is willing to do these particular things with Java, then he or she can do. But why like we need to prefer the typical way if we are having certain uh, the easy paths for performing a particular task?
Right.
Okay, so this is something like which is there, and Hive is the skill which is having high demand in the market as well. Like people, some organizations are still looking for the Hive persons who will be able to work onto their use cases, live use cases, and then they will be able to solve those particular analytical problems. So you will be definitely you will be having, if you are mentioning Hive in your resume, one or two questions definitely will be there from the Hive side. Okay, so that is with respect to Hive. We will be going in detail like today, and in the session first we have discussed basic only, and in 2 to 3 sessions we will be discussing onto the basics only, right? How different types of tables, okay, data types and all. Tomorrow we will be discussing about data types and certain set operations. So we are going through with the simple stuff. It will be it will be keep on upgrading, and once we will be having good command onto the simple, then we will move towards the Hive optimization, that is the advanced phase or advanced stuff from the Hive side. Okay,
Fine, Ashok. Thank you.
so that's it for today's session. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.